Hey, this is Matt Damrow, sports imaging producer for SiriusXM, as well as voiceover actor. We call this creatives in bars having coffee. Yeah, coffee.
We're going to take a little bit of a detour into the voiceover land. How can voiceover talent for radio stations add more value than they already are?
The gospel's been preached about connecting with local communities. And we've seen it in our own environment in the South African context that 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, the US and Australia and Europe were really cool radio markets, and we wanted to be like them. And I think what you're finding is a maturation, if that's even a word, markets maturing or becoming their own. So, I mean, we're a market leader in South Africa in the youth space, and we've moved away from using international voices because the big booming American voice doesn't necessarily mean that it's cooler anymore than using a local voice. I think it's all the content that you deliver has to be authentic. And that's why you employ big personalities who resonate with your local market. So a guy's renowned for being a house music DJ, get him on the station to play house music because that's the thing which makes him authentic. So there's definitely a filter that the audience has, but it's a trust relationship, and that relationship gets built over time. So when you do say something, it's almost you assume a trust relationship. So you're going to have to break that trust for them to want to put the filter back. And I think you don't want to betray the trust of your audience. It was fine to have the big voice, and 5FM has got an amazing voiceover artist. But the time has changed, and it's time for us to be authentic to that audience, because what has happened over time is they've become proud of who they are and where they come from. And your imaging of your station needs to represent that. The same would apply to stations in the States. If you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, there's a difference in sound, and that's okay. You don't have to be the same. You don't have to homogenize. It's all right to have an element of localization so that people resonate with it.
You know, the onus would be on the voice talent to make sure that the folks they're working for are abundantly aware of their experience. If they have interests or ideas or concepts that they think they can bring to the table that could help, build successful brands, then I think that's always good to be sure that you're not just mailing it in, right? If they're not listening to the radio stations that they're voicing, they're really missing the boat, because I don't think you can establish that connection. You can't get in that realm. I would think one of the main responsibilities for a voice talent is to be sure that they're in touch with the product. If a programmer's not willing to talk about their talent's interests beyond just the day-to-day, here's copy, read this, send it back, then something's missing.
Most talents have it in their contract now written, not that I look at a lot of those, but they'll do this many pages of copy, talking per month. And if you want to put them in a TV spot, it's this much extra. And I think at some point that's got to be consolidated. You will voice stuff that I will put online, that I will put on Snapchat, that I will put on Facebook, that I will put on YouTube. I'm paying you to do this many pages of copy that I'm going to put anywhere I want. You don't like it, too bad. Don't do it. Don't just read the copy and then move on. It's like, give me a minute of your time and let's interpret this together. And if you come up with a few funny lines, feel free to throw them in. We don't have to use them, but I'm always very appreciative. And sometimes you'll be like, oh my God, listen to what they said at the end of this, or listen to what they did, or you'll just hear them chuckle. That wasn't on. We'll keep it in there. we use that stuff all the time because my people that I use, throw it in. Because it makes me feel like they're invested, because I know that they are.
This one may hurt to some voice talent, but I think they have to be more open to doing more. We all have deals of you pay this much a month and then so much for an extra page or two. And I get that, because you can't let it be a bottomless pit or you'll never have time for other clients. But there are some times when voice talent can't move as quickly as we need at a radio station, and that's a challenge. There are other times when the voice talent may be asked to color outside the lines. Some of them can, some of them can't. I will tell you that the voice talent that are most accessible, the ones that can color outside the lines, are the ones that I go back to over and over again, just because I can depend on them. I would rather give the most dependable talent larger chunks of our business, hence a lot more money, because I know I get more return on my investment.